My name's Derek. Some of the stories you're probably going to hear are pretty difficult for people to share. Probably because a lot of the stories are about people that are really close to them. And I'd like to look on the good side of it, because there are a lot of good sides to actually people finding out that they actually have cancer. And just one of the stories I want to share with you is a person that's been missing from my life for a year, 9 months, and 17 days. There's not a day that I don't think about him. I was this big brother, and after my father passed away from cancer, my uncle came and told me that I was the one who needed to take care of my little brother, and I tried to the best I could. People always said that he looked up to me, and I got the greatest gift of all, to be able to take care of him in the last 6 months of his life. I was there every day, got him out of bed, fed him, just tried to do what any loving person would do, is take care of another human being. Him being my little brother, he was an amazing person. He was diagnosed with a very rare form of cancer when he was 32 years old. The cancer that he was afflicted with is usually found in infants. So to be diagnosed at 32 was a little bit of an oddity. I went with him to every surgery that he had. And unfortunately, the cancer affected an area of his face where 1/4 of his face was actually removed. And being the type of person he was, man, he wanted to get out in public. And I remember he visited us one Thanksgiving, and we were sitting there sharing some Irish whiskey one night. And he looked at me and he goes, why me? Why me? First dad and now me. And I kind of stopped for a moment just to hear the words that he said, and I kind of looked back at him. I go, Dale, why not? I go, if there's anybody in this world who could educate people on how to deal with this, just through your own actions and your own example, you're probably one of the strongest people I've ever met. And it's amazing how much I look up to you and how much courage you have in dealing with this. Because quite frankly, I'm not sure I could. So we progressed on through the years, going to many different medical centers, people coming up with their own idea of how to treat it, how to take care of it. When it really wasn't the medical side that he really needed. He needed a support side, people who loved him, who cared about him. And yeah, dying is real. And when you have doctors telling you have 6 months to live, and you outlive that 6 month span, and you have another 6 month span to live, you end up taking your life and packaging your life in these little segments. But through all of that, he was probably one of the most bravest people I've ever met. Up until the time that I took him to hospice. And I remember we were sitting outside, and he was in his wheelchair, and we were kind of sitting there on a Florida day, and it being about 92 degrees and no breeze whatsoever. He kind of leaned his head back in the chair, and all of a sudden this breeze kicked up out of nowhere, and the temperature dropped about 10 degrees. And I just looked at him, and his eyes were closed, and he just looked so peaceful. And so I leaned over and I asked him, I said, "What's on your mind?" And his response back to me was, "I'm just free in my mind." And I knew at that time that there was full acceptance of what was going to go on, and he certainly moved on to a different plane. But I'll never forget. I mean, I'll always remember the time that we had. I remember the time that we used to go in the bars and we used to play pool, and he would have his nasogastric tube hanging there and a quarter of his face missing, and people were so amazing. I mean, he had such this incredible spirit just exuding from him, and people would come up to him like they've known him forever. And he shared that with people. And I got a chance to share it with him. And I carry him with me every day. But even though this is kind of sad and everything, and yeah, I lost my brother, and I've lost my dad too, but I think the biggest part out of anything is there is hope, and there are people that do care, and you just never ever think that you're alone. And look inside and look at the source that keeps your fire burning, because without that, it could be the end. But I honestly believe that, I mean, at least he showed me that deep inside he had this tremendous love. He had this tremendous love for life, for people, and people were drawn to him because of it. Whether he had the deformity, whether he had cancer or not, the true spirit of him as an individual was a gift to all the people that met him. And I'm going to carry that with me. So, love you, Dale.